So guys, welcome everyone. पुन्हा एकदा सगळ्यांना स्वागत आहे. Welcome to Sadhava classes. We are going to take your next lesson, and the name of the lesson is Science and Spirituality. Science and Spirituality. So part one, it is divided into part one, part two, and part three. Small. I think आहे बघा. चला बघा पुढे. Let's see. We often witness conflict between two groups of people, one that believes in science and other that believes in religion. Dr. Kalam was a great scientist, this is indisputable, but he was also convinced that fact and faith can together create a better planet. He once told me science and faith must coexist for the human good. Science provides focus helps us to solve questions, discover the truth, and conceive inventions. Faith provides perspective helps us to you see how our creations and discoveries go on to impact a combination of vital for the success of societies. Science accelerates progress and faith curves it within reasonable limitations. If the two functions are function sorry, if the two function true to their roles, they will work together for their betterment of humanity. Dr. Kalam's own life was nourished by multiple faiths, right? His father his father was a boatman, also served as an imam at the local mosque, and his two best friends were from the two different religions. One was a Hindu, and the other was a Christian. Paki Lakshman Shastrigal was the head priest of the famous Rameshwara temple and a Vedic scholar, and a Reverend Father Bodal had built the church on Rameshwar Island. Dr. Kalam recalled how all three of them, in the unique attire of their religion, used to sit and discuss the community's problems and find solutions. Throughout the nation and the world, guys, बघा काय तुम्हाला world, the need to have a frank dialogue among cultures, religions, and civilization is felt now more than ever. When asked where he got his humility from, Dr. Kalam would always attribute it to his father. In him, he saw how simplicity and divinity could go together. Even though his father was a boatman and Dr. Kalam went on to become the president of India, they shared the same values in life. Both believed that if one leads a spiritual life, then that spirituality can lift them out of any kind of confusion, misery, or failure. Getting? Let's go ahead, part two, guys. In the 1960, when Dr. Kalam joined ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization, in 1960, it was just a fledgling that is flagging a new and inexperienced organization. His interactions with the great scientist Professor Vikram Sarabhai and the Reverend Peter Bernard Pereira shaped their thoughts on religion. It was here that he learned about the true meaning of religious service. Professor Sarabhai and his team had selected a site in Tumba, Kerala to set up their space research facility. It was an ideal site due to its proximity to the magnetic equator. But there was a major road block in getting possession of the site, as it was the fishing ground of Tumba's fishermen. Moreover, what happened? It had an old church of Saint Mary Magdalene, a bishop's house, and a school, which was under the administration of the church. The government officials predicted that it would be impossible to relocate so many people from this site and destroy religious institutions or the sake of Space Research Center. But upon Dr. Sarabhai's persistence, it was suggested that they approach the only person who could help them in this situation, that is Father Pereira, the then bishop of the region. Dr. Sarabhai and Dr. Kalam approached Father Pereira on Saturday evening. The Reverend said, "Oh Vikram, you are asking me for my children's abode, for my abode, and for God's abode. is it possible? Father Pereira then invited the party to visit the church on a Sunday morning. Dr. Sarabhai, his team, and the forever inquisitive disciple Dr. Kalam took up the offer. At church the next Sunday, what happened? The Reverend invited Dr. Sarabhai up to the dais after the prayer service. Turning to everyone present, he said, "Dear children, here is a scientist, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. What does science do for us? We benefit from the devices that science has developed to light up our homes. I am able to talk to you using this mic thanks to the technological advancement. Medical science allows doctors to diagnose and treat patients. Science and technology enhance the overall comfort and quality of human life. And what do I do as a preacher? I pray for you, you are well-being, and for your peace. In short, what Vikram and I are doing the same job. Both science and spirituality seek the almighty blessing for prosperity of the human, right? Prosperity of the human, mind and body. Dear children, Dr. Vikram says that within a year he wants to build scientific facilities near the sea coast, replacing all the settlements that now stand there. Now, can you give up your abode? Can you give up my abode? Can you give up God's abode for such a great scientific mission? Dr. Kalam recalled how he witnessed a pin drop silence for a long moment. Then everyone got up and the whole church reverberated with the deafening noise of a collective Amin, right? So work on the research center was soon underway, but not without alternate accommodation being offered to the affected fishermen, the church, and the Reverend Pereira, right? So let's see, guys, part three. A few years later, what happened? In the early 1980s, Professor Satish Dhawan, the director of ISRO, under whom Dr. Kalam had made his first unsuccessful launch in 1970 and then a successful one in 1980, had provided him with with more soul sharpening wisdom. What happened? One day in 2012, we were discussing the number of PhDs Dr. Kalam had received. He said to me, Sri Jan, Professor Dhawan had so many master's degrees, all from the best institutions, no less. So I asked him, how can one become so academically accomplished? He responded saying that academic brilliance is no different from the brilliance of a mirror, which can be diminished by a coating of dust. Only when the dust is removed does the mirror shine and the reflection becomes clear. We can remove the impurities of obscuring our souls by living pure and ethical lives and by serving humanity, and then God will shine through us. These words took me back to my meeting with Dr. Kalam after my graduation from IIMA, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, in 2009. At the time, he had advised me to use my degree and gold medal to transform the society I live in. Back in the present moment, it suddenly struck me that Dr. Kalam's advice had in fact directly resonated from the Professor Dhawan's belief. The more I lived and worked with Dr. Kalam, the more I realized that